Hey guys, welcome to Careers Uncorked. This is your co-host Sid.
And this is our co-host Sharfuz. Sid, happy Saturday. What you been up to, man? How's your weekend?
Saturday's been quite lazy for me. I've woken up a little late and then I sort of spent my morning having a lot of coffee. So ready
All
for this.
right. Dude, I got this caramel latte thingy, and I regret this. I don't know what it was. I think the barista made it in a weird way. So, note to myself: always get normal coffee. Yeah, just don't try to.
You went to Starbucks?
Huh?
You went to Starbucks?
I went to this thing called Cafe Nero in Boston. It's kind of cool. It's like this whole, because Starbucks is like too mainstream, man. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, another Saturday, another Carries Uncorked episode, dude. Do you want to sort of tell our audience what Carries Uncorked is? Like, what is it?
Yeah.
Dude?
Careers Uncorked is a place where Sharfuz and I spend our Wednesday and Saturday evenings and mornings, I guess. And we chat with some really amazing people, such as one we have today. But Sharfuz, what do you think Careers Uncorked is?
Carries Uncorked. Yeah, Carries Uncorked. I think it's basically a way where we chat with some great people and catch up and just catch up with people we haven't. It's a great way for us, and we just stream that live. Catch up with people we miss, and also like some people we admired while we were in college, and people in the industry who we, people should listen to. So like, what do we know about your guest? I think you may have some memories of him or something. Got some good memories.
I actually do. I have a couple of memories, but I'd like to share the first time I met Tolga.
Okay.
And I love that he's actually backstage, so Sharfuz and I can see his face, but no one else can, so it's going to be super fun. So long story. What's up?
We can roast him a bit without him like complaining.
Yeah. No, he can't say anything. No one can hear him. But yeah. So the first time I met Tolga was actually through a teammate of mine in rowing, and like I missed practice for I think a few days, and then all of a sudden this new kid comes up. His name is Tolga. He's from Turkey, and he's apparently killing it at the game. He wasn't a good neither of us were like good rowers, but we all had like different things. I was like the funny guy. Tolga was like the killer. Like he would chug beer. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say this or relate beer brands with him, but he was like the beer killer. And I was like, dude, I'm so impressed. Like, how do you do this? He would have more beer than anyone, and he would chug it like in less than 30 seconds. So it was insane. So that's how I found out about Tolga. And I went up to him one day and I'm like, dude, I know you've been killing the fucking beers. Like, this is crazy. How have we not met before? And then we met, and then it was really awkward for a little bit. But soon I went to his room at 6 a.m. with the rowing team because he missed practice. And that's where we like finally bonded. He was like, oh, dude, like you came to my room to wake me up just so we could go to practice together. This is awesome. And that's how we sort of kicked it off.
Dude, that's awesome. I mean, I thought you guys were rowing. There was more about drinking beer than actually rowing, dude. I thought that was like the only sports you did, and it doesn't seem like it.
No, dude, people in Turkey, apparently they're really good with beer.
Oh, really? Okay. I want to hear Tolga's version of this story, so let's bring him on the stage.
Yeah, let's bring him on. Let's talk about his beer skills. Tolga.
Hello, guys. How are you doing?
We're good, man. We're just, do you have a beer with you right now that you can show us?
I don't. I just had coffee. It's a little too early to start drinking.
It's 5 p.m. somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say exactly that.
Maybe I'm staying more casual these days. I'm not trying to chug beer down, every scissor end games. 40 ends, sorry, not scissor ends.
That's crazy. But so Tolga, really quickly, let's do a quick introduction about you as a professional, apart from rowing, because I know we associate you a lot with rowing. But let's sort of hear like your quick background, like the tell me about yourself question in a job interview. Who is Tolga?
Sure. So Tolga that you see here is actually an naive international student that made it to the United States 5 years ago for University of Rochester, where I actually studied electrical engineering as well as computer science. And in doing so, I was able to, explore a bunch of fascinating areas and find connections in them. And in doing so, I had a bit of a journey in the research domain as well as the internship domain. With my internships at Qualcomm and Google, very most recently. So I think I had a taste of a bit of everything in academia as well as the industry. While there's still tons of things out there waiting for me. I kind of have a better sense of what I'm kind of burning to solve, what problems I'm burning to solve in the world that are more geared towards artificial intelligence, robotics, or what's in between those fields.
That's really exciting. And I remember you spent quite a bit of your college career just sort of doing a lot of research by yourself, because I remember the courses that were offered at the university weren't really suited for you. So I remember you making a lot of those things by yourself and like working under professors to do research.
Yeah, I mean, college was mostly running the extra miles for me, I would say. I think I might have graduated with like a record number of technical electives. Like I think it just one technical elective and I had like 10 or 11 under my belt. Wow. I mean, it's like, the reason why I chose the major was because I was interested in learning more about the electives, not the core courses. So I was thinking, I really got to do this. I need to learn this. This is bothering me if I'm not gonna learn more about it. So yeah, but that wasn't the only way. I think significant portion of my time was into, doing self-studying through online courses a lot, as well as the research with professors in computer vision image processing domain.
Yeah, that's really, really awesome. So we've done like a brief background, but I think what we should jump into is who is Tolga as a person. So we want to get to know the real Tolga. So we're going to ask you some questions, starting off with Shafuz. You want to start us off with the first question?
Oh God. Okay. Bring it up.
All right. So Tolga, what do you do outside of work?
What do I do? These days, I'm actually trying to just run and lose some weight, honestly. But other than that, I think a significant chunk of my time is actually going into watching documentaries. Again, like I think curiosity is like a common theme here with me, whether it's for my work, school, or just extra curriculars. I'm curiosity driven, so I watch a lot of documentaries. I'm running these days. God, I wish rowing team was around, honestly. But yeah, I am just like everyone, occasionally going out with friends to grab some drinks, but my occasional drinking is not like what Sid described. I'm not like,
It started at 9 a.m. and you went until 9 a.m. next day. That's what it sounds like.
I mean, he wasn't too wrong about that particular instance, but it's not my typical occasional drinking, I might say. And I'm reading books, but whether I'm doing work or out of work, I'm just doing something that kind of tickles my curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice. So Tolga, tell us about what do you like about computer intelligence? Why all this research? Why are you spending all this time learning all these things related to AI, computer vision, machine learning?
Sure. First of all, because it's fun. Of all the things I study, I think it kind of got me. It was the most thought-provoking one. It definitely kept me engaged. I think right about my junior spring is when I kind of had a deep dive into artificial intelligence. I was taking computer vision, AI, and robotics at the same semester. And then if you saw me around those days, I was asking some really weird questions. I was just thinking, like, if you run into me in Rashi's library, right, I might just look up to you and say, dude, how did I get from CSP to here without even looking at like my path? Just like I was on my phone, I didn't realize. So I was wondering like how intelligent beings like humans or animals were doing the tasks that are just so second nature to us, right? So in that case, I think I'm interested in AI not because it's artificial. I think it's more like looking into a mirror. Like how do we do it? How do humans do something that we're trying to just implement in the artificial intelligence agent? So it's more like exploring yourself and or for that matter any living being with agency. That is, it's got some intentional will power to move around, manipulate things. So yeah, that just seemed pretty fascinating domain.
Wow, that's really interesting. What age was this when you like first discovered it and you were like, I really want to spend my career doing this?
I think then I was 22, 3. Yeah. So little side info. I am a little older than the my peers in the same grade. There are
Yeah,
reasons for it. I've taken
I
couple.
get that. I get that a lot. I understand that. Same.
I've taken couple gap years along the way. I don't regret it at all. I think I like to take my time with things. Even with this Google internship, people usually do their internship in their junior summer, and
Yeah.
look at me doing it after graduation. So yeah,
That's pretty cool. I mean, I think that's a really good example of just showing people that, if you have that intellectual curiosity, you don't need to be following a specific algorithm. You make your own,
yeah,
which
exactly.
which is sort of our topic session, but more on that later. Tolga,
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear, and this is one of my favorite questions to ask. Now, when you look back in your 5 years of college, what were the 2 or 3 significant experiences that you had that made you into who you are right now? Like literally right now.
Okay.
What
So
can
tough one.
it could be
And I've
anything.
been, this is literally a question that I keep asking myself every once in a while. I think I'm on the recently I'm realizing how it is challenging as well as beneficial that I was an international student who kind of made a life for myself by myself out here. Like my parents haven't even visited me here yet. They didn't get a chance to. So like, and I did go to a boarding school before that too, but challenges here were at a whole different scale. And I thought those were like minor things in life, but the more I talk to people, I'm just realizing that a significant portion of our mental power goes into being an immigrant here, getting used to it, building a different persona. If I might even say, English speaking Tolga is a little different than Turkish speaking Tolga. So building that persona takes some power. You got to change your humor and etc. So
Yeah.
there's that. I think secondly is it's actually the moment that I figured out, okay, AI is what I want to do, because there's a lot of hype about AI, but not only that, there's a hype about everything in computing, and you want to make sure that you are taking on the right challenge, not because of the hype, but because you're driven. So for me, that meant a lot of investment. Walking into your fire, I didn't know how computers work. I've never written a single line of code before in my life, so it was like a lot of news, like a new country, new faces, new courses. It was just shock after shock. I think getting through that was definitely something that made me stronger. Yeah, those two have been pretty remarkable events in my life, I think.
Yeah. No, I did. I really appreciate that, your response, and I definitely connect with it because as an international student myself, I totally understand that challenge and the scalable and like the personality changes you go through and the adaptation, the English speaking Tolga, and I think that was really good what you said. I think I went through that same thing, so I think definitely relate with you. And I also like never coded before a single line of code in college, and I was same comp sci major as well. The only difference is you're good at it.
um,
Yeah, so similar but still different. But
thanks for the compliment, but I might say I wasn't particularly good at it, and I still feel like I'm not good at it. It's just that I was working a lot on it. I was cursing a lot, and I was still sitting down on the chair, even if I'm
yeah.
cursing at it. I think that's what made it. But yeah, don't cut yourself short, man. You were a pretty good coder too. I remember taking the
I
data
had my
structures with you.
That's my moment, I guess. But yeah, but Toga, I do have a short follow-up question here because I love how you described that you realized that AI was your thing at some point that was very significant for you. So a lot of our audience are students who are still trying to figure out what is their calling as well. So is there a particular framework that you use that others can use as well? Is there a suggestion you have for others to get that similar calling that you did?
There is there's a primitive framework that I use that I refined over times, and it includes my regrets too. Now I kind of perfected the recipe, and I didn't apply it myself because I had to learn it the hard way. So my biggest regret, I think, was that I didn't discover my true interest until junior year. Now I'm thinking some people figure out they want to go into machine learning as early as high school. I'm not kidding, but because like people come from different backgrounds, I'm like the first STEM major in my even extended family.
Wow.
Yet alone, studying in the United States. So I didn't really have anyone to explain what these courses and majors were about. Um, yeah, so I would say my biggest regret was not starting earlier, because if I did start early, I would have a lot of time at college to do more research and get into a strong PhD program. Now I have to figure it out. There's nothing wrong with exploring later, but there's a what is it called? Cost, opportunity cost.
Yeah.
So the framework goes like this: you don't have to feel bad about something you don't know that exists, but it's kind of your job to, make sure you exhaust yourself to try to hear as much as possible. Yeah, it wasn't my fault that I didn't know about AI, because I didn't know anything about computing when I showed up here, right? But I think what I could have done better was literally just walking into every professor's office and saying, what is your work about? Like, what do you do? Please explain it to me in a simpler term. I want to know if I have some interest. So like, even before you setting on to a journey, you should try to sample as much as possible. You try to get a bit of everything, and get a sense of what that is about before you do a deep dive into one area. So I think I would have done that better. That is, there are some course names that don't make much sense to me when I was freshman. What is computation theory, formal theory of computation mean? Just go walk to up some, just talk to a student, talk to professors, network as much as possible. I think that's where I put the emphasis, not because you're searching for a job or an opportunity, just because you have no clue. You're just a freshman walking into college, and chances are people around you can give you like in a nutshell information in a lot better way than you could spend hours, days trying to figure out. In the meantime, life goes on. But you got to ask, and once you do that, you get an idea of what certain directions you want to go in, to some extent. And then it's about taking courses and slowly, apart from courses, doing some research to get your feet wet in that domain. That's how I would go about it.
Thanks,
That's
man.
really interesting.
I think that was very valuable. Yeah, I think a lot of people can like really use that, especially people in earlier college years. So appreciate that. Yeah.
All right, Tolga, up next. I have some photos to show you. I was trying to find a photo of
Oh,
a
God.
baklava, but I couldn't find a baklava photo, so I had to get some other photos. I was really craving some baklava. What is going on in this picture? Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit.
Am I even there? Yeah, I am there.
Yeah, this is right. Tolga right here.
I'm behind. His name was Yizu, right? I can't remember, but yeah. And that's Joe, I believe. Wow, look at me. I was a lot leaner those days, man. Look
Give
at
us a
this
background.
strong.
Give us the background of this photo. What's going on?
Yeah, man.
What's the story behind this?
Harshal is here. I can't believe that.
Oh, yeah.
Why can't you believe that, man?
That was the only time he did rowing, I think. He was just there for the camp. It was good times. It was really good times. I enjoyed that a lot. Going out to Nashville, there's like, it's literally in the middle of nowhere. Not Nashville, but Oak Ridge in particular.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just having the boys around, we had a lot of fun. Actually, I have a memory too that I want to share. I got in trouble for something I didn't do, but these guys did. So Chris and Sid occasionally decided to, ditch the camp and just go for a run. They wanted to run up the hill, somewhere nearby, and then they wanted to take some cool photos of the dawn from there, right? And I'm like, you know what, fine, I'll just join you guys. And then we left the what do you call it? We left the docks and we started running for a hill, and we didn't inform anyone. And along the way, I was thinking maybe we should let someone know. Maybe they'll think we disappeared or not. But these guys are like, nah, let's just run, man. It's fine. And then they made it up the hill. I decided to wait just by the river. When we returned to the docks, for some reason, I'm like the least guilty one here, but I got roasted the most. Like the coach literally roasted me. I'm not gonna use that profanity here, but Sid knows what I'm talking about.
It's a good memory.
Yeah.
But it was literally one of those moments that we bonded over.
That's
Sure.
funny.
This is our coach, by the way. His
Yeah,
name is,
yeah.
Coach Chris Sistrom.
Sistrom.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, let's move on. So this was spring break. Let's see what's up next. Ooh, we got two images side by side. Tolga, what's going on here? What are these things?
Is that my timing or just yours? It's mine. I sent you that photo, didn't I?
You did, yeah. I don't have
What you
to
see on
type.
the right, what you see on the left is a number of very persevering men, and on the right there's an aspiring, persevering guy. So my timing isn't that great, honestly, for those who may not be familiar with it. But I'm trying. The photo on the left is our indoors facility. It's where we do our winter training when it's too cold. And the definition of too cold is there's literally ice and you can't break through with your boat. So,
I think we would do like the Titanic, right? We'd like cruise through ice until like it was so bad that we couldn't do it anymore.
Your cold and our cold were two different things, I might say. Like there were times that we could like literally break off ice from the oars. They were in the water and they would start freezing. What I could tell about this, like in a more personal note, is that rowing really boosted my motivation and self-esteem the first year. It was a lot of like for once you're part of a bigger team. Like you want to quit so hard because it's such a hard challenge. You're rowing for 40 minutes an hour and you're just exhausted, but like there are people yelling at you. You can't stop, just keep going, right? And so I like being in that team, and I think it taught me a lot in terms of how you want to mentally give up, but you can do more, so just keep going.
For sure. Just looking at the date, this is November 2015, dude. This is 5 years ago. Isn't that crazy?
Wow, I didn't realize that. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's insane.
I thought it's also embarrassing. I thought this was like 2019 or whatever, when I was out of shape. This was me in shape.
Sid, are you here? Like, is that one of you?
These hands are mine. This is another funny moment, but we'll leave this for another time.
Wait, that's me. I'm in the photo too. I didn't realize that guy's me.
This is you.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, my reach is terrible.
You're off base.
For non-rovers here, that shape is not how you want to do it. Like you don't want to slouch your back. You want like a straight back.
Is your back supposed to be like straight?
Yeah, like you gotta reach with your legs, not with your like back, with your shoulders. Your shoulders are like, it's gotta be stiff. It's gotta be fixed, but you gotta get close with your legs. I gotta work on that.
All right, let's move on to the next photo.
Sure. Google's got a rowing team, by the way, that I'm hoping to join.
Damn. That's
okay.
awesome.
That's
Looks
really cool.
extraterrestrial.
Yeah, what's going on here?
I think what's missing there is that my graduation cap. I was wearing that to the photo too, but it says Niger Electric there, doesn't it? It's Yahuza. Oh my god.
Yahuza. All right. So this is our
the gang, man. I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed hanging out with these people.
Is that bald Navin there?
It's bald Navin here.
Man, it was a shocker to me. Like I haven't seen him in months, and all of a sudden he went bald, and I was like, wow. Honestly, this looks cool, but you caught me off guard.
That's funny.
All right. This is Tolga's graduation, and then one last one. Tolga, what's going on here? I see your shoes.
Oh shit! Yes.
Where'd you find these photos? Even I don't have these. I mean,
You look like you're straight from Turkey in this
looks
one.
dumb.
Dude, I missed that scarf. I lost it. Like this muffler, that thing I have. Oh man, I like that. I really liked it.
I'm
That's
curious of your impression of Turkey, but I guess the dark theme suits me. Yeah, I like dressing dark. I think it gives me like a serious appearance. What am I saying? What I want to do is doing a remote surgery.
Yep,
That's
you
still a
want
pretty tight idea, honestly. But I am having better startup ideas these days. But that's still on the horizon, I might say.
That's
so
good, man.
little background about this photo. This was my impersonation of Steve Jobs. I was going through a phase of trying to be Steve Jobs for a little
Oh
bit.
man, yeah, that definitely was there. Like
No,
you were was
And
it the time when you were also taking the HCI class and you were designing these interfaces and you thought you were like design the next iPhone and stuff?
dude, literally, it was so much fun.
I mean, you never know, man. Maybe it starts like that.
It does, yeah. So this is back in I think 2016, almost 2015, 2016.
This should be 2017 or
This is 2017
this should be 2016 fall.
fall, yeah. So this
2016
is
fall.
a career fair,
Yeah,
or sorry, student activities fair.
I think this is our first Launchpad career fair.
Yeah, this is hashtag
Oh,
launchpad.
true.
Hashtag launchpad.
Yeah.
So yeah, in early days, Launchpad were these three people, guys.
Yeah, oh man, that was something. The origins.
It's going well, by the way. Mark did, I think, a pretty good job at keeping up yeah.
Yeah, Mark did a great job. I think there's a whole new e-board coming in, but he assured that it's in safe hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great
20
memory.
I liked how they were going off to the conferences. I hope they can scale that up for more people.
Yeah, no, that's pretty sweet. Yeah, man.
All right, enough of looking at old photos and reminiscing on old times.
Those were the days.
Yep. But let's go back
You gotta
into this
send me those
conversation.
photos sometime.
Yeah.
All right. So early college experience, we've covered that quite a bit. So we're going to jump into the main topic of today, which is exploring one's self or potential. So what would you say is some of the classes that you took in college or some of the research that you did that had a huge impact in your career, specifically also helping you land these internships?
What I might say here now kind of would kind of sound irrelevant, but just bear with me. I'll explain the relevance. I think there are the courses that were most relevant in terms of the internship search, but there are also these courses that just inspired me the most and gave me like a lot of great ideas in what I wanted to do in terms of research career. So to answer the first, there's a pretty typical. It's a well-studied path. It's still challenging, but it's a well-studied path. Like there's not much surprise to it. Obviously, you got to know your programming basics and you got to know your data structures and algorithms. And you'll hear that from everyone. And I cannot, stress that enough. And no matter like you're a senior engineer or you're just like a couple of years into your industry experience, I think you still get asked these questions about graphs, trees, etc. Whatever is covered in data structures and algorithms. So make sure you get that covered well. But I think just going to class and doing the projects isn't enough. Have some drive to just like kind of apply whatever you have to a problem. I think that becomes more relevant, and only then you'll have a better sense of what are some typical problems that these kind of structures can frequently occur with, right? Because in the interview, you're given just like 40 minutes, right, to literally pull a rabbit out of your hat.
Yeah.
You got to think of the right thing, the right set of things. But if you learn to associate certain types of problems, certain data structures and algorithms, you're gonna do that in an instant.
Yeah.
I've done that little, but it's about what I haven't done as much as what I've done. So definitely do that. I think algorithms was a pretty thought-provoking course for me in terms of research, as well as the internship experience. For a lot of people, CS 282 algorithms course is something dreadful. They dread a lot because the grading is pretty harsh. I was doing well, to my surprise, because I thought I just didn't have a mind for algorithms. But I think when you study something long enough, be that chess, like that could be chess or any kind of like puzzly games where you think your IQ is tested. There are patterns, and if you study it long enough, certain things start clicking, and like you just kind of see it intuitively. I have no way of explaining it, but it's just experience.
Hmm.
Algorithms is definitely something that I recommend take for people to take. If they're Bachelor of Science, they have to take it. But even if they're BA, I would recommend taking that course just because, yeah, it's gonna be challenging. Maybe it's gonna be a GPA killer, but why? As a famous philosopher said, why tiptoe through the life to safely arrive at your death? That was
Oh.
ludicrous.
Wait, Tolga, I need to hear that again. What is it?
Why tiptoe through the life to safely arrive at your death?
That's like a
Good one.
Go out there, challenge yourself, and I guarantee you're gonna learn a lot if you can enjoy the course.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's like a step up on data structures and algorithms. And I don't know how your experiences were, guys, but my interviews were usually a little harder than the typical questions that I saw on the internet.
Yeah.
Like, I never heard anyone being asked a graph question, like in my immediate friend groups. I got asked tons. But so, you cannot ever over prepare for interviews.
Yeah, it's very true.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And for I think the research related things are more intellectual concepts. I think these two courses, random processes and digital signal processing, were very interesting. I mean, it might sound like a very nerdy engineering concept, but honestly, it kind of made me think of life in different terms. Like I'm starting to see, whatever perception you have, audio or image or whatever. I just learned to put a different meaning and representation to it, and I started thinking, how an intelligent being should be able to do the information processing on that. It's where you study tons of Fourier analysis. It's a mathematical subject.
Yeah.
It was very thought provoking. It was more than just building circuits or just processing some signal.
Yeah.
It's more about what does information processing look like.
Wow.
For sure.
Note to self to listen to more ludicrous songs. It's got some good lyrics.
Hey man, the man is right. Can't judge that.
That's a good inspiration, and yeah, no, Tolga, I definitely agree with you. It's like I think I really like the quotation you gave us, and just challenging yourself. Like I challenge myself every Wednesday and Saturday to do co-hosting with Sid.
That's quite a challenge. I agree. It's hard to put up with Sid.
Yeah, not gonna lie. I totally get that. But yeah, no. So Tolga, I think it's really admirable. Like I think you're like a really academic mindset, and just this it seems like you're someone who loves getting into that technical side of things and all. So question here, how did you discover this academic curiosity part of yourself, and like how did you discover this technical side of yourself? Like I think we touched upon that a bit, but if you want to just give us a what's your take on this?
I think curiosity was kind of there all along, as far as I can remember, starting all the way from my childhood. Like I wouldn't just play with toys. I was kind of making my own toys, or just, I don't know. I think it's got a lot to do with my upbringing, but that's pretty deterministic. I think it's more about kind of having an appreciation for the things that I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
If I can't do a certain skill, or if I don't know about a certain thing, I'll just assume you're a smart person that figured it out. So, teach me. I want to learn more about this so I can better equip myself. I think I was just in that mindset for a while. I can't really pinpoint where it started, but yeah, Now you're asking me what does it mean to be Tolga? Like, why do I like the things I like? I don't know.
You're born.
But it could be a lot to do with the fact that my father would take me to certain technical fairs, even since my even when I was like 6 years old, whatever. I didn't get anything, but I was fascinated. I mean, it's just that it amazes me how us people were evolved from like monkeys and we built cities like New York City. That's just like crazy to me. So whenever I see like some big structure, it makes me wonder, how do we even build that? Like, how does it go from clay and soil to this beautiful skyscraper, or how does it go from like a metal disc to a computer? Like that just I couldn't wrap my head around. How do you save information in metal or in just it's a CD? It's just plastic.
Yeah.
Like to me that seemed like magical, and I just wanted to know that. But specifically for AI, honestly, I gotta say it kind of felt like a superpower. Like it felt very empowering. I figured that if I'm able to know, like, figure this out, you kind of have a superpower here. Like it's powering self-driving cars, it's powering object recognition tasks, it can speak to you. There's like this Google project now, like it speaks and you don't even realize that it's not a real person, just in a very natural voice or whatever. So you're able to twist the reality. Like what's this one, I don't know who said it, but again, another intellectual said best way to predict the future is to shape it.
Yeah.
So, like, I think AI will mark our future. In many ways, it will be destructive and constructive both. But I wanted to be at the frontier of that. I wanted to be one of the pioneers if I could. It's a it's very much down to coincidences. But if I can make it there, that's what I want to do with my life. Just shape the future so that we can make it better, or we can be in a fight to make it better or worse. It's a constant fight.
Dude, you're gonna make Skynet someday, won't you?
No, I am more on the. I'm a pretty compassionate person. I think I am more forgiving. I'll make the Terminator who regrets his decisions and starts helping the people. Honestly, it's kind of easy to program Skynet. I think it's hard to program Terminator because it's hard to model this compassionate behavior. Like, what does it mean to be compassionate? How do you model that? How do you put it in equation? It's very ambiguous. Humans are ambiguous.
That's true.
So it's the more interesting and challenging part.
Yeah.
But,
No, sure.
So I'm gonna bring us back to a subtopic about like college experience, because I know a lot of people are very, very interested in your background and how you got to where you are. So you mentioned about the algorithms class. Is there anything else that you would say would distinguish a candidate from everyone else that takes an algorithm class? Is there some research you can do to be a better candidate for a role, or to show that you're interested in a particular aspect? And along with that, any side projects or anything else students should look into while they're in college?
Definitely. There are tons of courses that they could take to stand out from the crowd, particularly in the AI domain. And I would be more careful with my recommendation here, depending on our audience and where they attend schools. First and foremost, just check your instructors, because for a very fascinating subject, the course can turn out pretty bad, and then you're gonna lose all your curiosity. I think your success in things will be a lot more about your perseverance and kind of putting up with BS than just success is a pretty lucky thing. Like, you got to get very lucky. If you want to make sure that you're successful, you got to roll a lot of dice so that some of these dice are the ones you want. But a typical course load would look like this. I think you definitely, depending on whether you want to work in the vision domain or language domain or audio, there's like a domain specific set of courses. Before that, you want to make sure you learn things like artificial intelligence, machine learning. This kind of will take you through the time. Artificial intelligence is this like greater scheme of things, in which machine learning is just a subset. Because there were classical AI methods that dates back far like before this whole area started in 40s and 50s.
Yeah.
Um, Machine learning is more recent. Deep learning is an even more recent field. But get your basics right. I think early on. Once you have AI and machine learning, then you can, I think, set out to these domain-specific areas. Do you want to do language processing that kind of powers applications like Alexa or what is it, Google Assistant, Translate or whatever? Do natural language processing. Oh, look at you! I have all three of them. I have the triad. I have Alexa, Google
No.
Assistant, and Siri.
Okay.
Oh,
Siri
wow.
is the worst. I'm sorry. I hope Apple does not cut me out from employment anymore. But I gotta say, it's not doing well. Um,
That makes sense.
do take natural language processing. If you want to work in the vision domain, you could take computer vision, and there is speech processing, for example,
Yeah.
that kind of conflict what's the word, intersects with NLP too. But in that domain, you might want to look at things like audio signal processing or computer audition, which is like audio equivalent of computer vision. I did kind of beyond. I went beyond that. Those were like the more high level ideas that built upon some mathematical preliminaries, and those mathematical preliminaries were signal processing courses. So, beyond these great ideas that we can highly automate now, it was like all of these things were built off of some mathematical things, and I wanted to study that math too. So I did things like Fourier analysis.
Mhm.
That's Fourier. It's a French name, so in case you're confused. Image processing, audio processing, digital signal processing. Those are ways of augmenting your profile in terms of course load. Make sure you ace your linear algebra and probability. I cannot stress this enough. All of the things that I set aside, these all will depend on your perfect knowledge of linear algebra and probability. If you can just like kind of manipulate these concepts in probability and linear algebra, you're gonna just breeze through all of these other courses. I guarantee you.
Mhm.
Um, but my best recommendation would be do light course load. Don't this is what I did, but it had its own pros and cons. Yes, I think more I can speak more intelligibly about certain concepts, and I can find the connections between these different domains. But it came at a cost. Like I said, there's an opportunity cost here. That is, I had less time for research. So I think if you are into AI, you should definitely follow a PhD afterwards. That's my personal opinion. And if you're gonna do that, you're gonna need research experiences and better recommendation letters. So I think you want to leave out a great amount of time for research because research is intensive, really. Even if, especially if you're an undergrad, it's gonna be even tougher because there's gonna be the courses are easy because someone kind of laid it out for you. There are assignments for you to do that is guaranteed to work. In research, no one lays out a curriculum or syllabus for you. You don't even know if it's gonna work. You don't even know what the research question is. You just have to, you gotta formulate the question you want to solve, and then you gotta make sure that it works, and then you start solving the problem afterwards. So it's a more ambiguous domain. Um, so yeah, do make sure you leave out enough time, and if it means taking fewer courses, take fewer courses. Just research is more important. You're gonna get your coursework done in PhD too.
Yeah.
And my biggest mistake was I think that I couldn't find a great match in terms of research in UFR.
Yeah.
There were some outstanding projects I gotta say, but I didn't know how I fit in. It occurred to me very lately that I didn't have to be bound by UFR. I could have just applied to any colleges during the summer and then just did my research there. So friends out there, if you are walking into your sophomore year, junior year, you know, email professors, email as many people as you can do. There are programs like Xerox.
Yeah.
Summer research fellowship, right? That's for UFR, but other schools have those programs, and in fact, they're open to all students in the United States from all colleges. So find those programs, apply to those programs, and then your chance. If you go to bigger school, your chance of finding a great research project and networking with people there will be a lot better. Um, yeah.
That's great. I think there was a lot of good set of knowledge there. Then that was very valuable, Tolga. I think that's
Sorry if I dropped a heavy ball on you guys, but yeah, I kind of said I perfected the recipe. I just wanted to give that wisdom. So
oh yeah, no, that's
that is good.
good. I think a lot of people can start cooking things from that. So yeah, no, dude, I definitely appreciate that. Thanks a lot for sharing all that. Yeah. So here's the thing. So that, I think that so the interesting thing is like I know like we talked about like the algorithm part of it. Like you kind of it seems like so very shortly like, and that's like that's our topic. Like if you're exploring your potential and your interest, like how do you sort of compare that with the algorithm and like is there like a systematic approach apart from like what does the algorithm part come in here apart from like the recipe itself that you mentioned?
How exactly do you mean? Can you little?
Yeah, so I guess
elaborate on?
how do you compare that with algorithm basically? Like how are you comparing like that's what I'm really curious about, like exploring your passion and your interest and your abilities with an algorithm.
Oh, like literally me being an agent and running an algorithm to discover that.
Yeah, I guess that's where like the step-by-step process comes in where I guess.
Got it.
Yeah, okay.
I think you gotta realize, okay, to put it in more nerdier AI terms, we all live in this what we call a partially observable environment. There's no way you can know everything because it's just infinitely long. Like there's no way you can learn about all these career opportunities, all these research subjects, right? So, like I said earlier, success is as a fulfilling success is a lot of times it's just chances. But you know, how do you get successful then? Well, if you wanna catch three when you're rolling a dice, just throw a lot of dice, and one of them will be three. So I think in this partially observable environment, you gotta do a lot of searching. You gotta do a lot of going around before you go into depth in something. You got to do what we call an iterative deepening search, meaning you go in depth at everything by one step, first, and then you get a sense of your neighborhood, and then some of these things can be eliminated. You know for sure that you don't want to be there,
Yeah.
and then you have fewer sets, and you can go the second step in these things, and soon enough you'll realize that you're bound by a very limited set of things that have an underlying theme in it, right? For me, what's the underlying theme under signal processing, AI, robotics, whatever? It's information processing. How does an intelligent agent
Yeah.
do all sorts of information processing? So yeah, but you can't just know that for sure. I mean, if you have great friends, great family who could advise you on stuff, then obviously you're set. But if you're in my shoes, walking into your college years without any prior knowledge, then you got to do a lot of searching. Once you do your search, I think then it's about time where you start looking for your networking opportunities,
Yeah.
not only in your college, but other colleges in the area, or even like stateswide, like or like countrywide. Like what's stopping you, right? So you want to make sure that you do that too. And a significant portion of your time, I think, if you're going to be in AI research, it's going into paper reading. You gotta really study the literature. What are some of the state of the art, like current methods? What you see that is that more impressive ideas um, often come from like a subset of schools or a subset of people. Like there's some points of interest in this global map that are more productive and efficient in terms of coming up with original ideas. I think you want to be closer to those hubs. Let's say for AI, that could be University of Washington. Stanford is obviously one.
Yeah.
McGill,
Yeah.
Toronto. These are great spots. Like there's a reason why good papers consistently come from these, because they have a set up system. And whatever field you want, you got to find these spots. I think especially if you want to be in research, let's say systems research, there's a set of schools or institutions for great systems research. To find those and try to have your summer internships in those institutions. Make sure you have some network with those people.
Yeah. No, for sure. So definitely, I think I think it's kind of good that you mentioned. I think it's like just finding those spots that kind of connects with your career. I think that's a really smart thing to do. Like, how do you position yourself towards that? Like, for example, if I'm a lot into entrepreneurship, so like Silicon Valley is like a gem for me. Like, I want to be in that Silicon Valley hub where all the technology investors and the entrepreneurship startup stuff is. So that's pretty cool. I definitely get that. But yeah, Sid, is this time for our favorite round?
It is. Tolga, are you ready or not?
We're gonna take a break from like the heavy conversation stuff and go for
Let me my hair look quick. It's been annoying me. I couldn't get a haircut in weeks, but okay, I'm ready. Bring it on.
That's the perfect thumbnail for our YouTube video.
Oh God, don't do it, please. I have some very embarrassing moments that are recorded on live before too. In a MUN conference when I was in high school, I did fell from a chair on stage, and it made it to the promo video. So it wouldn't be a first one.
All right, let's jump into this. So this is rapid fire. These are also questions from William. Thanks for the suggestion, Daniel. William is our chief mascot officer, and he is curious to know about you. So he wants you to answer some questions. What is your favorite travel destination, or your dream travel destination? Sorry.
I think I would say some of the Pacific Islands, but more more isolated ones that don't have any buildings on it. I can't come up with a name on top of my head, but there are these like islands that doesn't have any structure on it at all. I want to be in one of these.
So that riddle that people say, like, oh, if you were in an island, that's what you want, like a stranded island.
You know what? Actually, I'll change that. For quite a while, I wanted to go to Antarctica. I have weird interest in terms of traveling. I mean, we all want to go to Maldives in Europe, but we've all been there. I think more interesting stuff will be in I don't know, in deserts or in Arctics. Yeah. I think I want to go to Antarctica or Patagonia, which are pretty close.
That's pretty cool. You want to come with me and Chris to Norway? We can go see the Northern Lights.
Oh yeah. Actually, yeah, I want to take up that offer. But I'm sure 70-80% of our time will be just hiking and sailing rather than just appreciating the views. So Chris won't sit still. He will just be on his toes. Okay, let's go, guys. Let's climb more.
All right, you up next.
Awesome. Yeah, okay, so the next one, Tolga, what's your secret talent?
Oh God. My secret talent is I think I have some good really card tricks that I could impress with. Yeah, I don't have any cards with me right now, guys. I'm sorry, but I have good card tricks. That are great conversation starters, but you can't make a living out of it.
That's funny.
We are looking for a new intro video for our show, so we might use one of your card tricks if you want to record one for us and send it our way.
Oh God. Okay.
All
right. Next question: where can we find the best baklava in the U.S.?
You can't. No, I'm kidding. But the least worst is if you go to New York, there's a branch of a Turkish franchise. It's called Gululu. It's Gulluoglu, because it's a Turkish name and we're trying to Americanize it. It sounds a little hard.
Yeah.
But Sid can drop that in the comments. I think it's Gululu. It's a branch. I think because it's a franchise, you're gonna have a consistent taste. I think it's gonna taste a lot better. I think I did have baklava from there. It tasted pretty good. But if you ever visit Turkey, I can have more specific suggestions as to where you can buy the best baklava. But whatever you might have eaten before, it's bad.
Whatever we ate, bad. Yeah.
I tried so many. It's just too dry, too stiff. Texture, taste, everything has to come in place. It can't be too sugary. It cannot be too tough to chew.
Yeah.
It cannot be kind of gooey. I hate that. But when you eat the right one, you're gonna know. It's oh, okay, this feels right.
Yeah.
This just feels right in my mouth, how it's melting. Yep. Yep. Well, I didn't. By the way, disclaimer: I didn't get paid by them.
You didn't get by those?
I'm just a passionate Turkish patriot, I guess, that wants to.
Representing. Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. It's a good brand.
Definitely. The next one, Tolga, what's your fondest memory in college?
Do I really have to say it?
I mean,
Like I think the ones that I had found most were with the rowing team or with people who were from rowing team, and it involves a lot of times getting really drunk. There are those moments. Yeah, I think one night there's me, Sid, and Chris, and it wasn't the night that I was chugging that beer bottle, but it was just as hard of a day, and I felt like I was able to find my pack, like being away from home, being out of like a friend circle for a while. It felt pretty right, and it was a great night. Honestly, we had a lot of fun. But fondest, as in, do you mean like the proudest? Like
I think that takes the cake. That does answer it. That makes sense.
okay.
Yeah, that's a good that. But no, Sid, wow, you're part of someone's fondest memories. Sid, look at that.
This is amazing, dude. This
I know, right?
Okay, guys, we gotta move on with the show. Let's like.
I gotta improve my life, right?
Yeah, right.
If Sid could make it there, I'm kidding.
All right,
guys.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
I think it's by Professor Shripai. Pai. His advice is that deal with ambiguity. That's all you can do. Like I think I'm starting to realize that people actually split into two, not by their political beliefs, not their origins or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's either that you can deal with ambiguity, or you're just afraid and you start picking up names for dealing with that anxiety. I think best advice is life is ambiguous. It can be scary, but just deal with it. We're all in it, and that's probably the best advice.
Wow, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah.
Sure,
Next one. Yeah. So this is gonna be fun one. Describe rowing to a 5-year-old.
You're gonna do a lot of things that you don't like, and you don't know why you're doing it. It just feels amazing when you're on water. I might say that.
All right. Well, yeah, I think that's fair.
I think, well, 5-year-olds love going fast. They love driving cars and whatever. So this will feel like they're the car themselves. They're not driving a car. They are the car. Just they're going really fast, and it's amazing. Yeah, it's gonna burn a lot of muscles, but it's gonna be fun.
All right.
For sure. Said you're up.
Book or podcast recommendation, Tolga?
I have tons of book recommendations. I am not much of a podcast listener, but for podcasts, I enjoy listening to Lex Friedman's AI podcast. I think that's a pretty famous one. It's from MIT. In terms of books, I'm recently reading Harari's works for human, like Homo sapiens, 21 lessons for 21st century. I'm yet to give advice on those, but I think you definitely want to read Thinking Fast and Slow. It makes you wonder a lot. Yeah, it makes you wonder a lot about your cognitive behavior. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay. Next one, Toga. What's something not many people know about you?
A lot of people, for some reason, think that I have a mafia look. They think that I am just like scary or just cold, or I'm pessimistic or whatever. I'm not. I really am not. I'm pretty optimistic, honestly. It's just it's a different philosophy. Like when I tell people that like this is the only life you're gonna get. Like there's nothing beyond that. People think that, oh, this guy is such a nihilist. It's not that. It's just that once there's no destination, all you're about is enjoying the ride. Don't stress over getting to somewhere in your career. Everything you do to get to that career level is what you should enjoy in the first place. So I think that's what I would say. Don't be mistaken by my black dresses or just my grungy look. I'm pretty happy guy.
Damn, Tolga. I think you hit your foos in a really deep place right there.
Yikes.
You're fine. You're fine. I say take the next one, the last one.
Yeah. This is the last one, Tolga. Your favorite co-host, Sid or Shafuz?
Sorry, what is it?
Your favorite co-host, Sid or Shafuz?
You gotta really do that.
We have a whole.
What's the score?
We had a whole point system.
What's the score like so far?
Shafuz is winning, I think.
I think I'm leading this time. Yeah, I won the last round. So we have a game till 5. Then we reset the score. I won the first round, and I think I'm still leading this one. There's no, you know why.
I'm little, I'm little 50-50 on this, but I want to see you guys fighting one another. If there's a clear winner, this is not gonna be fun. So I'm gonna say Sid, so that the fight goes on.
Wow. I'll take the petty win.
But yeah, you gotta ramp up your game, man. Sharfus has been more entertaining.
Wait, really? All right, Tolga. I see how it is.
You got the point.
Memories with you, I come up in your fondest memories.
I'm just teasing. I'm just teasing you, man.
You guys, the rowing bond worked out for you. Said like, just take the time. It worked out. Tolga came clutch. That's awesome.
Yeah. I gotta say, you're doing a wonderful service, guys. Like, this is amazing. I've been watching some of the talks whenever I have the time. Please keep going with this, and thank you so much for your service for all of us. I think we gotta hear all these perspectives. It could have helped me a lot for sure if I was listening to these things like 5 years ago. I definitely needed that wisdom, and now thanks to you guys, we have some of that.
Dude, I love it, man. We sort of stumbled upon this with the same concept. We were like, dude, we wish we knew more about like the jobs we were getting into, because I'm doing tech consulting and like I'm focused on Salesforce. I had no idea what this thing was. Even in senior year of college, I was like, what? It's crazy. And Shafuz too. I don't think he ever expected to be an M&A analyst.
Yeah, I don't know what M&A was. Like, no clue.
I know, right? What is it with consulting? I see a lot of memes about consulting. That's just hilarious. It's just like, there was this one, like you guys probably seen it, like someone is dying at the airplane and then they're calling for a doctor, and then the guy, like the father is like, go ask them if they need was it you, Sid, that shared it?
That's
yeah. A lot of my friends around me are doing consulting. I still to this day have no idea. Maybe I should watch more videos. You did have a lot of consultant people, I think.
Yeah. We're actually having one pretty soon, next week. We'll shoot out a short plug for that after. But yeah, tune in for that one. It'll be fun.
Yeah, no, definitely.
All right, let's jump on. Next topic. Working as a computer vision software engineer at Google. So we want to really understand how you got there and what it looks like for you. So let's start off with, what was the interview process like? Like, how did you get into Google?
It was tough. I thought I couldn't make it to the interview. I'll be like full disclosure, because it was 2 rounds of interviews. I was not invited for on-site. Phone interviews were enough for me. But for both of my internships, they were very extraordinary in that it was atypical of what other people did. For Google specifically, I had 2 sets of interviews. The first one was extremely easy, so much so that I doubted myself. Like, I was thinking, this is too good to be true. Like, this cannot be that simple, but it was that simple. But, unlike the first one, the second one was, oh boy, it was so hard. And I don't know, like, I really surprised myself with the way I come up with an answer, because it was literally something that I stumbled upon reading a book. It's I've applied what we call a bi-directional search. It's definitely not in your typical curriculum. You could run into it if you are so curious about your textbook and you want to discover more. It barely sits in my memory somewhere, and right then and there I was able to come up with it. I don't know how that happened to this day, but studying things like lead code and then cracking the coding interview, these are typical sources. They definitely help. What they do is kind of like you start seeing patterns across questions, like what kind of questions ask for what kind of algorithms and structures. because once you can figure out that, oh, this is a graph problem, there's only like there are only 3 or 4 algorithms you could apply on a graph, so it simplifies your process. You gotta do a lot of talking, especially when you get things right. It's simpler because you're explaining your process.
Yeah.
But if you haven't yet figured it out, you kind of gotta keep the guy busy, right? It's you gotta find a smart way to BS your way through until you figure it out. It's pretty stressful. Um, but yeah, finishing it, I was thinking, okay, this isn't gonna happen. To my surprise, a week later, they did reply. But funny part is, it was meant for a fall internship. So Google's got this interesting system that when you go through your interview processes, you're at what we call a host matching process. You made it. Now it's a matter of finding a match between the team and uh, the candidate, right? Your resume is out there, your profile is out there. Some teams do extensive search throughout the database of interns, and whatever they find an interesting match, they send an offer. They through the recruiters, they say, bring this guy on. We want to talk to them. For me, that was a little challenging. Their Google Ads team reached out to me back then. I didn't know how important ads were. I was just saying, ads. I don't want to do that. But look at me. I was so silly. Like, ads is literally what Google is about, right? But the more you learn. But yeah, I wanted some time to think about it when they reached out to me. But within days, that spot was filled up. So for fall, there was nothing for me. It took until the spring semester to find a good host match, and they were courteous enough to let me take that internship during the summer after I finished my school. I didn't want to extend the school for another semester. So that's how it happened. If you make it that far in Google interviews, don't wait for a match. Just whatever comes up first, just try to pick it, because there's little guarantee that something will come up second. And if there's not a match, you got to apply next year. I think being in Google ecosystem matters more than the specific work and team you're doing, because it's a 3-month long internship anyways.
Yeah.
True. Do you, just a follow-up question on that, do you think there was something that made you a better candidate for computer vision? Because I know things that are apart from the regular software engineering usually require, let's say, a master's degree or an extended degree. How do you think you landed this particular team for this internship?
For sure. I think my work is very atypical of, sorry, this has been bothering. I think it's very atypical of a typical CS. Okay, let me fix that. The workload is very unlike what a CS undergraduate student would expect, because it's very little about the software design itself. It's more about, specifically image processing and computer vision. Right now, I'm doing what we call 3D computer vision, which is even, further down the road in computer vision. So for a specific role like this, you definitely want to know things like image processing and computer vision. Those two are the most relevant for me. But those are on top of your software design. Software design is still there. You still got to do that. But having those could be a great match. I had a little understanding of what software engineering meant in these companies, and I was a little interested. I thought it was about web development, which I'm not very interested in. But they just hire under one big name, and you got to have your domain specific sets of skills, right? And based on your software engineering skills plus your domain expertise, they find you a match. So you could do software design. Maybe you're good at audio processing. Boom, you're in Google Assistant team doing speech processing. So find a domain specific area that you want to put some strength in. Make sure you make sure you stand out from the crowd in something.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
it was really interesting.
Yeah,
it's tough work. I gotta say, I think it's more suited towards master's or PhD, definitely. But I'm doing my best.
That's crazy. I think it'll definitely elevate you, to stand out from other software engineering interns. So I think that's awesome that you've been able to do so without actually having a master's degree already. It should also help you get a master's degree so much more easier now that you're like
Yeah.
doing some crazy research. So now
That's the promise.
you have an upper hand.
Yeah.
So let's dive a little deeper into what your day looks like. So what do you work on? Like what is computer vision? Like do you build algorithms? Do you chill? Like do you read articles? What do you do?
He reads articles.
It's been a lot of those. Yeah, you got it right. On a more regular basis, I think my typical day looks like me waking up, checking my calendar, because in Google, people can schedule things in your calendar if you didn't block out your time. I want to make sure first I don't have any immediate meetings so I can make time. Checking out mails, there are tons of mails. I didn't know that was actually a problem. So once I breeze through those, I would have my like weekly tasks, right? Which I try to more or less bring it down to daily tasks. So I'm just checking what I have for the day because it's been very exhaustive the previous day. I probably won't remember what I have to do tomorrow. So I check those, and depending on where you are in depending on at what stage you're on in your project, you'll have a different kind of workload. Like early on, you kind of want to define your research question first. So you do a lot of literature search. Early on my internship, it was a lot of doing the infrastructure for the project, right? Doing the installations, waiting for them, configuring the systems, system setups. You got to find the right compiler for GCC. NVIDIA, you're using NVIDIA's CUDA system. You got to sort out those things. And in the meantime, you're trying to explore the research methods that you're going to integrate into your project, see if they work, why they work. There's some studying going on. But once you figure out most of these, now you're down to programming aspects of it, right? And then I think that's the programming part is it's more on a regular basis. But to give you a broader idea, I guess during the week, my early first 3-4 days are geared more towards collecting results, doing programming, documenting my programming, writing up my test results. I didn't know Google was going to be this much writing. I thought it was more about coding than writing. Trust me, it's like 50-50. Towards Thursday and Friday, it's more about paper reading and team meetings. I give an overview of what I did during the week around Friday, but this particular week has been a little exceptional in that I was attending a summer school for deep learning, reinforcement learning. So I was off of work for a little bit. I need to catch up.
That's pretty good. All right. And you get to do like some learning stuff for yourself as well. So that's pretty solid. And Google helps.
Google is super open. Yeah, I like that about Google. Like they're open to you improving yourself so much.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. That's really cool. And speaking of that, so I know it's COVID and it's all remote, but what has your experience been with the work culture so much? Maybe one thing that you really like and one thing you may not be the biggest fan of, something like that.
I don't know what the consensus is out there, but I think it's going to be a more unpopular opinion that I miss the office. I want to go back to the office. I think I am not the kind of person that does better in remote home setting. Yeah, I don't have kids, for example, so I don't have that kind of distraction or whatever. A lot of my colleagues have kids or house chores or whatever, but they seem to be happy about it. It's because they are saving up on the commute time. But for me, I'm at an early stage in my career. Like I need to learn things, right? If you're 10, 15 years of Python programmer, obviously there's little learning for you to like have, I guess. You can do all your work from home, but I am hungry for knowledge. I need to be in front of a whiteboard with you guys to learn more things. I need to network with people on campus. Remote has introduced some set of challenges. I could even say, I think 3 to 4 weeks of my internship would be geared towards more meaningful steps in my project if it wasn't remote, because a lot of time, like this period was about, setting up a remote working station, installing stuff there, getting the right permissions. By the way, my project here is open source. It's meaning I don't have access to Google code base, documentations. So whatever problem they solved, I had to kind of, in a way, reinvent the wheel. I had to find open source tools to solve my problem that are not as well documented and tested as Google tools. So remote has been difficult in that, but it's something that we should adjust to. Honestly, you gotta build a muscle for that, because stuff like that could happen, and
Yeah.
you can just throw your towel every time there's a problem. But I think I want to go back to the office and be in front of the whiteboard. I definitely benefit from collaboration, physical collaboration in the workspace.
For sure. Yeah, I think I personally also would love to go to the office as well. I think it's just like kind of like gets tired staying at home, So I miss it,
But on the plus side, like I think you have more flexible schedule.
yeah,
It's got its own pros and cons.
that's true. That's very true. Yeah. Cool. So
one thing before we move on, I want to acknowledge that Joe left us a message for the rowing pictures. You are a little late, but Tolga had a question since you both are co-workers at Google. Have you guys spoken? And Joe,
actually, no, I didn't know Joe was at Google. Hello, Joe. Is he in Mountain View or?
I actually don't know. Joe, comment down below. I'm surprised you guys haven't connected. You guys are in the picture.
I thought he was in England. I thought Joe was in England. Like he was studying there. I thought he was working there too.
Really? I mean, dude, everyone's sort of working online.
Well, yeah, but I meant before.
What's happening with the Google's work culture, guys? These guys spent time in college together. They were in the same rowing team, and they haven't connected.
Google is a little bigger than a startup these days. So
there's 20 people, you're saying?
There's not much. There's literally not much I can do to meet everyone.
Yeah.
I can't just meet Sundar, for example. I can't just walk up to him and say. Although I did see him, so
you did.
Yeah.
Did he say
he's just like a human being?
He's a human being?
Yeah.
You guys didn't like program him or something? I thought he was like
robot.
Sharfus, to your surprise, actually, he's not from a technical background too.
All right.
I think, yeah, he doesn't have much technical background, but I think his signature move was to bring Android into Google ecosystem.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, I heard that. So we know someone who directly worked with him at Google. So he was a rock star product manager at Google. So
10x.
Huh?
10x product manager.
Yeah, no, yeah. So he was a pro. Yeah, so I think that was his he really killed it, and he just went up the ladder, which is amazing, which is an inspiring story. But dude, action item for you after this. When you meet him, can you get him into our show, as a guest?
Sure, I could definitely ask for some time off between his conference calls with country leaders and.
Tell him a 30-minute call in Carriers Uncorked.
Sure, honestly, I'll fight for it. I'll fight for it. I'll invite, and if he says no, I'll at least have him give a shout out to you guys.
Sure.
We can figure out something.
He knows. Tell him to Google us.
Do you want him to buy you guys out or something? Is this a official brand now?
We'll talk.
We'll talk about that in person.
I'm an analyst. That's what I do for a full-time job. So
I promise to do my best, but you got to remember, I'm just an intern. It's a very big organization.
I mean, Joe's here too. Joe, if you're still on, can you get us connected with Sundar? We have a conversation.
We want him on the show.
Waiting.
It's actually pretty interesting, and you guys, I don't know if you take pride in it or whatever. Both Microsoft and Google has Indian CEOs. I think it's a great rhetoric for the immigration story.
Yeah,
immigrants leading the effort.
I'm not from India, by the way. I'm from Mali.
You're I know, Sharfus. You're an immigrant.
Yeah,
that's not what I meant. And Sid, you're American, so technically this doesn't apply to you.
Sounds good.
There goes my branding, guys. I was like, Sid, the kid from India.
Sid, the kid.
So nobody cares what your origin is. Okay, what do people care about is hearing from Tolga. Tolga, what's the future of AI? What do you think?
Future of AI is drug discovery, finding new purposes without working at all. Like there'll come a point that humans won't have to work, and what do we do with our free time is going to be a big question.
Mhm.
We cannot design our drugs, as in medications, not uh, um, like it takes 5 to 10 years, and like COVID is out here, and we are yet to find a cure. AI will solve that problem. We're gonna start finding cures in maybe in a week, maybe in like less than that. AI will be robotics. AI will just literally. I think it's unlike any technology before this. It's gonna be our way of kind of redefining the evolution. It's like
Yeah.
we're defeating the evolution. So I am curious to see those times, like in terms of what we're gonna do, how we're gonna adjust to that society. But in the more immediate term, like in 5 to 10 years, you're going to see things like autonomous driving. I'm
Yeah.
sure that's going to be around in 10 years, but honestly, that's not even the most interesting part. Now we have both scary and impressive stuff. There are deep fakes, and
Yeah.
what does it mean when when the concept of proof loses its value? Now, nothing can be served as a proof because everything can be fabricated. What's the value of truth in that society? So there are some really challenging problems um,
True.
in terms of security and healthcare and robotics. So that's what it looks like. So I think you got to be in it to, like I said, to shape that AI feature.
Mhm.
It's got to be more democratic. Obviously, we need representation from everyone, so it's not left in the hands of the few to
Yeah.
decide what our future looks like.
True. That's really interesting. I think you brought out a very new aspect about like drug research because I mean what we hear about it from like the outside is mainly autonomous cars and those Japanese like omelet flippers. Um, I mean that literally that's what I see. I watched a documentary on Netflix about AI, and they were talking about how Canada actually has a much bigger budget for AI research, the universities in Canada, than the US, because I think in the US it's funded by the army, if I'm not
The army, yeah.
mistaken, and in Canada it's funded by the government. So they're spending a lot more money on AI research, and they have some really really cool startups there that are working on very interesting AI implementations. So I'm really curious to see what the future entails. But here's my question for you, Tolga. What do you think? Like, do you think the future is dangerous? Do you like agree with Elon Musk that you're going to kill us, or like, what? How do you think like robots and humans and artificial intelligence is going to be in one place?
Um, Hard to answer. I mean, everybody's opinionated on that matter. Obviously, I have my own sets of opinions, but in no way means that this is how it's gonna go down. Uh, what I know for a fact, though, is that what separates humans from other animal species is that we are amazing at adaptability. We adapt to everything, and if there's something that we do well, it's surviving. I think even at its worst, we can survive AI, but it's more about what it's gonna bring us and what it's gonna take out from us. And if it's a worthy trade, we gotta do it. Like there's no stopping it. If some country doesn't do it, someone else will do it. It's more of how do we keep the balance in this thing. So I think it's going to be pretty beneficial for us. I don't think it's going to be total destruction. Obviously, it's introducing a lot of dangerous threats. Um, but people lost their jobs when we had industrial revolution. We're not riding horses anymore, unless you're in Texas, I guess. But
Yeah, I do. I was going to say.
um, but we redefined our societies. Those people, in future will look a lot different than us. Maybe they're going to be half cyborgs, and by our definition now in 2020, maybe it's horrifying. But for them, it's just okay. You cannot ever know that. But what I know is that we're going to survive it, and if it's going to introduce a lot of things, I think it's AI is our only way of survival now, honestly. Because we mess with evolution so much. We are trying to cure all these diseases. We're trying to find antibiotics for ever changing bacteria. We cannot keep up with that race unless it's for AI. Like
Yeah.
bacteria changes from year to year, and it takes you 5 years, 10 years, and a lot of money and people to find the new drugs.
Yeah.
And if you want to survive in that, you need AI. I think we are kind of codependent now with AI.
Yeah.
Very true. That's really interesting. But Tolga, here's one of our wrap-up questions, because we know we're already a little above time. We only committed for 1 hour, but we love having you.
I'm so sorry. I hope you enjoyed, though.
Oh
Dude,
no,
awesome.
we love the conversation a lot.
Yeah, really.
I didn't notice it was like 1 hour, 30 minutes until like it was past 1 hour. Like
Yeah,
it went really fast.
that's crazy. But yeah, Tolga, what's the plan after the internship? You have a plan for maybe getting back into research, or are you looking to continue working in like this field of AI? What's the plan?
Yeah, it's a great question that I am a little afraid of answering. I know for a fact that my primary goal is actually to go into an AI research, doing a PhD in AI research. But how I will get there is a little ambiguous. One thing is actually doing a master's program either back home in Turkey or Europe. I don't think I'll do it in the United States. And then applying for a PhD, or another route I'm trying to do as well is, I've worked in the industry a couple years, and I slightly transitioned to more AI driven roles in industry. And, within 2 to 3 years, I'm thinking about applying to PhD again. Because like I said, this is my passion. You could, by now you could tell that I'm little driven by the salaries. I mean, if you want a salary, there are tons of great ways of doing that, but I'm just more about finding these challenging questions and solving them, especially in the AI domain. So PhD seems to be the way.
That's so exciting, dude. I'm very, very excited for you. You're going to be Dr. Tolga, and you're the closest person to Elon Musk that I can relate with. So
I'm working in Forbes and TechCrunch, like this crazy research paper, this new thing. I'm telling you, this is gonna make a Skynet someday. He will, and like, and people are gonna watch this video and like, and trace it back. This is where it started.
I'd be pretty proud if I can make it like MIT 3535, but it's very difficult. What you'll see is that more and more AI PhD students and AI researchers start making to those 3535 kind of lists. AI is definitely taking up more space these days. And I don't think it's gonna go away anytime soon. But gotta say, it's a pretty competitive environment. Like doing very good is just not enough. Like you gotta do excellent. It's that level of competition. It's just a disclaimer out for people out there. You want to make sure you're the best candidate.
Yeah,
for sure, man. Yeah, no, Sid. Someday we'll get an email from Forbes asking us for the rights to this video.
That's gonna be awesome.
We'll get an email. This happened here first, They would want that.
Well, I can make you guys proud. I would very much like that.
This will be on Forbes someday. I think they're gonna cut it out, by the way. They're just gonna have Tolga.
One final suggestion, actually, before I walk out. This has been very like emotionally exhaustive. Like AI research or researching anything at all is just
true.
You're gonna feel burnout a lot of times. You're gonna feel like I'm just gonna choose the easy way. You can choose the easy way anytime, honestly.
Yeah.
Just stick with it. It's a long marathon, but I'm sure it will pay off if this is your interest. And I think even on a daily basis, I'm just feeling challenged. But I'm in it for the long game. We've come so far, and I hope it just keeps going the way it is.
Yeah. I think that's a great lesson. Let me bring up the outro for us. But I think that's a great thing you just shared. It's about like persistence, and that it's not always the happy path. Like it's going to be a struggle no matter what you're trying to do. So I think that's very motivational for a lot of people, especially in the research industry where it's not really as rewarding, and then it takes a longer time to sort of get to your end result.
Yeah. And this was amazing, guys. Definitely, Tolga, thank you so much for spending so much time on a Saturday with us and getting such a deep dive on the world of AI and technology and just your amazing, unique journey so far. And how you just nerding out on AI was really fun with you, man. And and I think there was a lot of great, because we were gonna make short videos and I think there's a lot of good segments where a lot of, especially comp sci majors, can take a lot of pages from all the wisdom, everything you shared. So yeah, thanks a lot. Tolga, any overall closing remarks from you?
I mean, thank you guys. Actually, it's been a pleasure. I appreciate the opportunity to be able to talk about these great things I'm very passionate about. And like I said, you're doing a great job with Careers Uncorked, and I'm looking forward to your next videos. And I hope I was able to provide some good information for people out there and for your segments. And yeah, Meliora.
Meliora, you too. We'll let you get back to your Panda Express. I know you were having lunch before this. All right. We'll catch you later. Thanks, Tolga. Thanks, everyone, for joining.
Take care, guys.
Yeah.
Catch you next time.
Bye, everyone.